Hey, Steve Magnante here at High-Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts with a 1975 Jeep J20 four-wheel drive pickup truck. Now, a lot of people think of Jeep as builders of CJs, little sporty fun runabouts, but you got to remember that Jeep also built the CJ, of course, the Commando two-seat runabout with the fixed body, and of course the Gladiator slash truck, and after all that, the Wagoneer, which is probably the biggest profit seller of them all. Now, the Gladiator arrived in 1962, designed by Brooks Stevens, and ran through the 1988 model year, 26 full model years of production. That's a long, it's not a record, but it's a long run for a standard production vehicle in the American marketplace. Now, something interesting about the CJ, the Gladiator, is that the hood, the same hood was utilized from the beginning all the way through the end of 1988. Now, early on, the Gladiator truck, I should say, the J series truck, had a vertical grille which filled up this space right here. When Jeep stylists, Kaiser, and then American Motors stylist rebranded the face of these things, they created a fake nostril right here to utilize the same hood stamping with a different application, getting away from the tombstone grille of 1962 through 68 or 9, whatever it was. And of course, behind the grille, you can see these weird holes. You might say, what are these things? Well, they're remnants of what used to be grill holes for the horns, a round medallion on each side of the headlight. So it's funny that American Motors slash Kaiser used the same stamping behind the grill as well as on the hood to maximize the cost of the vehicle itself. This one here is a J20. What does that mean? Well, it means it's a 3/4 tonner. It's also an all-wheel drive. And if we look at the side of this, we'll see that it has the J20 four-wheel drive logo right here. And there's something called Quadra-Trac, which this does have. It's a full-time four-wheel drive system. No need to get out and lock the hubs in like on certain, Ford and GM and Dodge vehicles at this point in time. Quadra-Trac was sort of an industry revelation. You didn't have to get out and get muddy. You just you drive it around in four-wheel drive all the time. Not great on saving fuel, but that wasn't what these were for. This is a long bed. You can see right here that it has the extra length, probably about an 8-foot bed right here. And of course, the wider track of the J series trucks, mandating these wheel extensions right here, the arches. And of course, the same basic feature is seen on the Commando, which is a slightly smaller vehicle. But again, here's the CJ, the Commando, the Jeep truck with the fender flares, and of course the Wagoneer, which was the showboat, the most expensive of all the Jeeps back in these days. And this one here is a clean example. It's been resprayed for sure. It's from 1975 and it gets all-wheel drive. And the beauty of this also is Brooks Stevens styling extended all the way through 1988. And the strange touches that he had on these from day one, with these sort of browed rear window right here. This roof stamping right here was used all the way from 62 through 1988. That's a long run, 26 years. And over the headlights, or over the windshield, this visor effect right here, which was probably very stylish in 1962, but by 1988 looked pretty much, as they say, long in tooth. But these things were all about, functionality. They were not the most expensive pickup trucks on the market, but these were certainly a good value for what you got. Dana 60 rear axle, Dana 35 or a 44 up front, all-wheel drive again. Inside, this one is rather austere. Has an AM/FM radio. It's a column-shifted automatic. That would be the Chrysler Torque Flight, adapted for use behind the AMC V8. There was also a 6-cylinder version of this with the 258 AMC engine. And yet, you have to remember, too, that American Motors bought Kaiser in 1972, I believe it was, and incorporated AMC engines and transmissions. And of course, that Torque Flight is also, it's a Chrysler transmission that AMC and Jeep benefited from. Great transmission. And inside this one, we'll take a peek in the glove box. This has something that was new for 1974, the year before this was built, Quadra-Trac. Let's look inside the glove box and see something kind of interesting. Now, these are full-time four-wheel drive, but if you really needed to get out of a fix, you could go into the glove box and do this. You turn this little knob right in here, and it says the green for regular use, the red one, emergency drive use only when immobile due to wheel spinning. You turn this puppy here, a vacuum motor activates the front wheel drive, well, the low system in the four-wheel drive system to get you out of that hole. Otherwise, you drive around in green mode, but that's Quadra-Trac right there. Didn't have to get out and get under, you just do it right here from inside the vehicle. And then here's that AM radio right there. Clock delete. Of course, the clock was an extra charge item. When you're maximizing profits, as you do when you're building vehicles in mass production. Rubber floor mat. Again, utilitarian, no need for a worsted wool, Rolls-Royce style carpet in a four-wheel drive pickup truck. And again, parts and pieces, if you recognize this from the AMC Hornet and Gremlin, that's because it was shared with that. And I believe the instrument binnacle was also shared with certain AMC passenger cars to, again, maximize the tooling and again, maximize profit and sell the vehicle potentially for as little money as possible so people can afford it. Now, this also has the original window sticker, comes with the sail, and it's a great example of the breed. And again, not all four-wheel drive vehicles were Dodge, Chevy, or Ford. Jeep was right in there swinging. Now, this one here has the V8 engine. Let's take a peek at it. Oh, look at me. Okay, so we open this up. That looks like a Ram Air, right? But remember, this is a vestige of the 1962 Brooks Stevens design, which had a tombstone type grille and two headlights and little horn openings. So, but AMC, again, used this hood stamping over, but it doesn't do anything. It's not a Ram Air system, nothing like that. It vents a little bit of air, maybe blows some cool air at the radiator on a hot day. But there it is right there. The AMC supplied, AMC designed 360 two-barrel. These could also be had with a 401 in a couple of years, but this is the two-barrel. Good little engine, nothing wrong with it. Pretty good on fuel economy. And in 1975, of course, the OPEC oil embargo and all that stuff of the 1972, 3, 4 season was fresh in people's memories. You could also get a 258 inline 6, which was an AMC design as well. But this one here is the right-sized 362 barrel, good on a fuel economy and plenty of torque and horsepower to get this probably 4,500-pound vehicle down the road. Power steering on this one. Power disc brakes up front, of course, drums in the back. Don't need drums on the back of discs on the back of something like this, although disc brakes on the back of trucks now are commonplace. But at this point in time, 1975, discs up front were kind of exotic. And on a 3/4 ton truck like this, you needed all the brakes you could get with a full load in the back to bring it down to a safe stop. This one is not an air-conditioned truck, which is okay. There's no need for that when you're plowing snow or driving in the winter in four-wheel drive. And here's the heater, of course, electronic ignition, which was standard fare for most American cars after 1973, and of course this has the electronic ignition, factory stuff right there. Big blower motor right there to keep you warm inside when you're out there plowing snow. And again, if you look at the wheel covers, they're reminiscent. I think the same stamping was utilized by Dodge on some of their trucks and vans, but this would have a hole in it in the old days when you had to get out and lock and unlock the hubs. But again, with the Quadra-Trac inside switch, you just basically drive this thing through snow and enjoy a day out in the wilderness. So that's the story of this 1975 Jeep J20, Gladiator, J20, choose your name, both are applicable. And to see more about this vehicle, you can check out the photo gallery on the High-Octane Classics website.